Hey Seekers, welcome back to the community channel. I'm here with you guys tonight in a different form. The form I was always meant to take. And I'm not just talking simply makeup here. Tonight's topic, we are going to discuss why we should choose, or should rather pursue, to want to be, to authentically live in our truest form. And I'm not talking about the forms that we take, to fit in, the forms that we absorb from our external environments, from our family members, from our friends, from strangers' opinions, from everybody else's opinions, but not our own. And I've always felt that everyone, every single person has the capacity, especially from a very young age, to tune in to their truest form. This is the things we naturally gravitate towards, right? So when I'm talking about true form tonight, I'm talking about why stigmatizing or stereotyping or limiting ourselves against our own truest form does no good. Everybody's path is different. I get that. I get that. I understand that wholeheartedly. I understand that not everyone's going to be called to ancestral healing. Not everyone's going to be called to, understanding their ethnicity. Not everyone's going to be called to heal family wounds. Everyone's path is uniquely different. This video is for those of you who are on these peculiar, storm-ridden, dark paths. This elusive path. The path where we feel like we have to wear a fucking mask. Right? So, growing up, there was so much outright racism, stereotyping against my own race from those that I loved and was around. We wonder why there's this disconnect, because we repeat what our family and what our friends and what our environment tells us to say. So it's not normal to want to be yourself, in other words, in this world, because if you are yourself, you're considered an outcast. At least that's how it was growing up. Now, being yourself is glorified to a whole new level. Being yourself means going to places only to take a photo to show the best version of yourself. But when I say to be in your truest form, I'm talking about be yourself to the point where you feel like your actual self is cracking and burning alive. That you feel like your skin, this mask that you wear, that you call yourself, which is only a temporary vessel, by the way, right? Because the soul is eternal. It lives beyond this flesh suit. The self I want you to understand and to take from this video is a self that you should never diminish or minimalize yourself for in regards to somebody else's comfort. I'm gonna say it. My father was very racist towards Mexicans, even though we consider ourselves Chicano. So doing something that was in alignment with the ancestral ways was considered stupid, pointless, downright ridiculous. I remember there was a time when, I believe it was high school, I had asked, I was sitting in a group of my girlfriends at the time, and I had asked one of them what she was, because all I knew was that I was Chicana. Well, she said Native American. And I said, Native Americans are known to be one of the most beautiful people. And these two friends I was sitting in front of at the time both gave me the most discerning, disgusted look and said, no. And I was like, I was so taken back by that. I remember that. I always think about that, especially like now that I'm digging back into, you know, embracing my ancestry and embracing the fact that I am an indigenous person. And I remember that so clearly. And I realized it was out of discomfort that somebody else sought somebody else's comfort, their opinion, to shut down my authenticity. Because when I said beautiful, I wasn't talking about the flesh. I wasn't talking about the face, even though, yes, Native American people, indigenous people of all walks, not just the Americas. Indigenous peoples, the original peoples of every continent, are beautiful. And when I said this, of course, like I said, I wasn't talking about the flesh, but I was talking about the ways, how they carry themselves, their traditions. But I didn't have a chance to speak on that yet. Notice how every time how this relates to expressing the true form. Notice how every time when you express your truest form, somebody has to shut you down. Because it makes them uncomfortable. Because it brings them back to truth. Nobody understands truth now. And when truth comes knocking in somebody's face, when somebody's brave enough to express it, they try to shut it down out of insecurity. This is some sort of self-justice, I guess, justification to make them feel better. But you got to hold compassion for these people. Because these people, A, simply don't understand, and B, need healing the most. This is that disconnect, right? There's no true connection to the true form. So, I mean, there was even another time when, you know, my ex-fiance, I mean, he looked as indigenous as can be, but he held this stereotype and this stigma over Mexicanos. And I'm like, you know, I don't know if it's because, you know, there's this entitlement because, you know, born in different continents or what, but it's simply not fair. It's not fair. Because when you look underneath every person, there is a soul. And I've always seen it like that. I mean, there has been times where I've caught myself repeating what my environment was trying to distill into me. This wasn't authentic. This wasn't my truest form. And thus, this made me sick. Sick in the ways that I expressed my heart and my emotions towards other human beings. So, I just wanted to make this video tonight to remind you that being in your truest form is going to scare some people. being in your truest form is simply not recognized anymore. So it's up to those who are brave enough to show their true self, to make this something common and not just something for a post for like. This is something that will be carried on through lifetimes. This is something like a legacy. Carrying on a legacy. Being authentic. Being sovereign. And being truthful. Bye, guys.